Alright, so I've been wondering something. Something really weird. Who would win between Diablo from Diablo and Kitava from Path of Exile? These two are basically the highest form of godhood in their respective universes. Kind of. Diablo does have to contend with other primevals and angels. But Kitava also has to deal with other gods as well, so yeah, it's a bit iffy, but I don't know. I just saw a bunch of similarities between them, and I was like, hey, who would win? I think we should start off with Diablo first. In the Diablo franchise, there are 7 prime evils, 4 of them are lesser evils, and 3 of them are greater evils. Diablo is one of those 3, along with his brothers Baal and Mephisto. These 3 basically control the entirety of Hell, with the 4 lesser evils ruling directly under them, amassing armies or whatever they need. As I was going around looking for stuff on Diablo, like his height, I really couldn't find anything. However, we can compare him to the size of an angel, who we know to be at least 3 meters tall, making him around 15 feet if I'm not mistaken. But because he's clearly arched over, we'll say he's at least 25 feet. He did break an angelic weapon, which is supposedly indestructible, or at least impervious to nearly all damage. To me, his most impressive feat, however, is when he roared so hard that it literally destroyed the entire... You see that orb up there? That actually births angels. That is indestructible. And he roared so hard that it destroyed it and everything around it. That orb is actually a remnant of the god that created everything in that universe. And Diablo just kind of like shattered it. Anyways, moving on. Diablo can summon minions to fight with him, but he usually doesn't. He usually likes to go one-on-one with everything and just kill it. I mean, to be fair, if you're able to bring heaven to its knees all on your own, then there's really no point in using backup. If things do get dire, he can teleport and teleport other people with him, but he won't use that as a cowardly move to escape, at least that I've seen, because he is the primeval of terror after all. He has no reason to be scared of anything. Alright boys, it's time for Kitava, the god of hunger. The Karui god of hunger. He gets more powerful by feeding, and he has many attacks, from giant beams to orbs. His swipes just knock everything out of the way. He's so difficult to even, you're not even killing him in the first fight. He's so difficult to just be around that you have to use the physical embodiment of purity. The physical form of purity to tear his heart out of his chest so you can attack the only part of him that can stun him. His hunger is so uncontrollable that other gods had to lock him away so that he didn't simply consume the world and everything on it, making him the most powerful god. By the way, this dude is massive. So you fight him on top of a cathedral building. Now, I was like, a cathedral is basically a church, right? And I looked up the average size of a church, and it's around 300 feet tall, giving him a massive size advantage against pretty much every other enemy in the game. In fact, I think most of the gods are under 20 feet. He's the only one that big. He also is able to eat souls and corrupt people. And you don't even win the fight with him. He destroys purity. This man hadn't even actually started fighting. In fact, after your first fight, You're sent to collect the souls of every other god just to stand a chance against him. It gets so bad that sin itself has to save you. And he basically removes all of your damage resistances as well. Kitava can also summon minions to help fight for him, but in most cases he kinda just eats them for health if he gets too low. And in the final battle, Purity and Sin are both helping you kill Kitava, as well as you having the souls of every other god you've killed. And it's barely enough. Kitava's greatest assets, though, are his chaos damage and his soul devouring. With this soul devouring, he can eat immortal enemies. You heard that right. If they have a soul, he can just chomp down on it, and then bye-bye, they're gone. And his chaos damage is different than any other element in the game. It bypasses any shields and goes straight to your health. And it messes with your resistances. Alright, now that we're done talking about the two, it's time to decide who would win. While Diablo is immortal, much faster, and is able to destroy indestructible objects, I do think Kitava has this in the bag. Because you see, Diablo had his soul put inside of a black soul stone that was able to contain his soul, which means he's not immune to people messing with his soul. And even if he was, Kitava could just strip away his resistances. They both have minions, so that cancels out. And Diablo is so tiny compared to Kitava. 25 feet compared to 300. Not to mention, Kitava's already dealt with way more gods than Diablo has. Diablo only has to fight angels, which are at best superhuman. Not even close to the level of gods. And Kitava basically fought 3 gods at the same time. There's nothing Diablo could do to harm him. He could probably get to the heart, but he would never destroy it in time. Kitava would simply, eat him. He's snack size. I do think, however, that Kitava would not be able to kill Diablo without eating him. Because Diablo basically has an indestructible body unless you destroy his soul. And it could be argued that Diablo isn't actually able to teleport whenever he wants, because he only does it once in the entire game. If he could have teleported whenever he wanted, he could have avoided getting his soul stuck inside of the Black Soul Stone, because there was a ritual that had to be done to get him stuck in there in the first place. I don't know, tell me your thoughts. I think I've got this covered pretty well. Anyways, I see y'all next time. Maybe I'll do both necromancers against each other.